Dun, 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 dun.
You gonna do the music for us today?
Dun, 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 dun.
We're gonna get a copyright strike on that one.
It's pretty close.
All right, welcome to Basement Movie Room. We're back with House of the Dragon, episode 8. We just finished watching it, about an hour late, and we're here with Ashley again. Has joined us.
Yes.
So
She's back.
that's right, back again.
Hot date. Hot D, episode 8.
That's right.
No play on words.
That's right.
Sorry.
You're a poet and you didn't know it, right?
No. If you
All right.
came here for an intellectual discussion, you're in the wrong place.
So this episode brings about a lot of change. There's the music, and we play it in the background here,
Yeah.
so that's why what that happened there. So okay, so what did you think about the episode, just in general?
Go ahead.
I'm not going first.
No? Oh man, I really enjoyed this episode. It was one of those where you really had to pay attention to every little detail going on. You know, I hate to keep saying this, but another setup episode, but it's done so well because it still keeps you so intrigued with everything going on. So I really enjoyed it.
Right, and this is the episode we've kind of been waiting for a while. It's the one where Viserys dies. Yeah. Spoiler alert, but if you're watching this, come on, it's a recap. That's what we're doing. So it's a good episode. I don't think it's the best episode of the season. It is certainly more setup. It's not like an action-packed episode by any means, but it's one of the things that Game of Thrones and this show do best. Your political intrigue type stuff. We have another question about who's going to take a certain throne, the Driftwood throne. Yeah, so let's just get into it. So we open up in Driftmark at high tide, the castle that Corlys Velaryon inhabits, and Rhaenys is on the Driftmark throne, or whatever they call it there, the Driftwood throne there, and she said
she finally made it.
Yeah, she's sitting on the throne, but only because Corlys has been gone for 6 years, apparently, since the last episode. So we get the timeline. We've jumped another 6 years, and Corlys has been gone, and he has been injured in battle in the Stepstones against the Triarchy. He may die. He's not dead yet. He may die. He's fighting an infection from a wound he suffered, and is on his way back by ship to Driftmark. The conversation moves. Bela's there, Daemon's daughter Bela, and Vaemond, Corlys' brother. So the conversation moves to who will take over Driftmark. Vaemond believes it should be him because there are no true-born heirs under Rhaenyra of Corlys Velaryon. Corlys obviously didn't care. He wanted Lucerys Velaryon to take over, but Vaemond's not having it. He's not fond of it. Rhaenys essentially wants to seat herself as well. So that's that scene. Nice setup for what's going to happen in the episode, clearly.
Right. Yeah.
So what do you guys think?
You go first.
This was such a hard episode for me. I don't know that I have.
The names are troublesome for you.
The names get me, and there's references going back, and with this being a 6-year time jump, I'm still trying to catch up from 6 years ago. So it's hard for me to really comment on that.
It's fine. I mean, that's your thoughts on it, so yeah.
As a newcomer, it's hard. So if you're a newcomer to this, hopefully everybody else is just as confused as I am, or else I'm just going to be over here in the dark by myself.
Yeah, it is a lot to take in, though.
It is.
A lot of moving parts, as always, in this show. So, but I thought Corlys' brother was a little too forthcoming.
Yeah.
Right out the gate.
Oh, he's going to get there even more later.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, he really came at, I keep wanting to call her Rhaenyra. It's Rhaenys.
Rhaenys.
Yeah. So, that was kind of interesting. It kind of stood out for me in this scene.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see her on the throne.
Yeah, she's sitting above on the driftwood throne that the Merlin King gave to House Valerian when they took over Driftmark. So, yeah. He's very forthcoming on what he thinks should happen and said he's going to take it to the throne, which is set on by Hightower at this point. So we get that information as well. All right, so the next scene, very short scene that really doesn't bring anything to the episode. Daemon is climbing into a cave, I assume on Dragonstone, seemingly on Dragonstone, and retrieves 3 eggs. Well, he says it's 3 eggs. We only see him get 1 egg, and he brings a satchel out to the Dragon Keepers and says that Cyrax has provided a clutch of 3 eggs.
Yep.
Are these the 3 eggs we're going to see later on? We don't know. But that's it. That's all we get from that scene. There's nothing else in that scene. I don't know if you have anything else to say about that.
No,
that's it.
Just pretty much the 3 eggs.
Yeah.
I think they're alluding to that. So.
All right. So, moving on, Rhaenyra is going to see Jacaerys. He's... Let's see. Okay. Sorry, my notes are weird. So, they get a letter from Driftmark, assumingly. I don't know who. I think that may have been from the Maester, possibly, of Driftmark, that sent them a letter saying that there is disagreement on who should take over Driftmark afterwards. She's in the room with Jace and Joffrey and Luke. All of them are in there. And she sends them away to talk to Daemon, right? Daemon's in there. She's also pregnant.
Right.
And we do find out she has 2 other kids with Daemon. So they discuss the letter, bringing into question Luke's heirship to Driftmark. And they do decide that they need to go to King's Landing. So they're going to load up and go to King's Landing over this because there's going to be questions at King's Landing. Vaemond is going to go to King's Landing to request that essentially he be placed as the heir. Yeah. And he thinks. All right, so that's it for that scene. Anything?
No, it's just the 3, dragon eggs are one thing. Right? Yeah. I mean, other than that, it's just kind of putting things in motion.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Jacaerys is learning High Valyrian as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's
struggling with it.
He is. He's struggling with it, but he's trying to learn it because he needs to know it as the heir to the throne.
So. Yeah, anything?
She comes at him too, and he's like, I want to learn it right now. I need to know it right now. And she's like, well, unless you are looking to essentially off me as a queen, you have some time before that happens. So that part kind of stood out to me to see if there's going to be anything that comes further down the line with something of that manner.
Yeah. Well, you never know. So, yeah. Rhaenyra is also wearing her bright red dress, the Valerian red, although, the black is more what we're going to associate with in this show. Yeah. All right, so the next scene, they're going into King's Landing. Rhaenyra comments on how it looks very different because Alicent has kind of removed all the Targaryen symbology out of it and is into the Faith of the Seven. She's gone like headlong into the Faith of the Seven. She wears a big 7-pointed star on her chest, and all the decorations in the castle are with the 7-pointed star, which you haven't watched Game of Thrones, but that did not work out well for Cersei in Game of Thrones when she brought the Faith of the Seven into it. She ended up with the Faith Militant taking over the the place. So so we'll see how that works out for her. But that's kind of it for that scene. It's not much to it. They just come into King's Landing, comment on how different it looks, and that's the end. We jump over to the small council meeting in which they're getting the old man, even 6 years later, who seemed like he was losing it in the previous small council meeting, is still on the small council giving an accounting and being very specific, apparently boring everybody to death.
Otto wakes up from a small nap.
Otto's sitting over there very tired, and Alicent is sitting in the king's chair and says thanks for the very specific accounting on those things. And then they move over to the subject of Driftmark, how they're going to hear that the next day, and what's going on with that. Otto's like, the claims, talking about the claims, and Allison's, they're kind of weighing their ideas.
Yeah. Now, going back to the council, wouldn't Hightower Otto have been at the head, be in the hand of the king?
Well, she's queen regent,
but
so
normally that power goes to the hand of
the hand
king.
would be the king regent.
So I didn't really get that.
I guess they allowed the queen in this instance to take that over with. But yeah, no, you make a good point. But it's Otto's daughter, so he's like they're the same. They're the same essentially. You also get like the Lannisters. It's not Jason Lannister. It's Jason's brother, his twin brother. They're saying, why should we hand, Driftmark, the largest navy in the Seven Kingdoms, over to a child who doesn't know anything about, running a navy? And they're like, oh, he can learn, but that's just a simple conversation. They're going to have the real meeting the next day.
Right.
All right. Anything to say about that little bit?
No, I don't have anything further.
Yeah, there's not much to say about that. So the next day, I think it's the same day, after Rhaenyra and Daemon get into King's Landing, they go to visit Viserys. He's extremely unwell. He is looking absolutely terrible. He's all bandaged up across his face. He's completely bald on top now, even more so, it feels like, and just in terrible shape. Drinking milk of the poppy. They introduced their sons, Aegon, which who just for future reference is going to be Aegon the Younger when it comes further into the series, ultimately, and Viserys. They named their second child after him, and then Rhaenyra is also pregnant with their third child at this point. So they're talking with him, discussing, what's going on, and Rhaenyra is kind of imploring him that he needs to help make the decision that his grandson Lucerys should be placed on the Driftmark throne, but he's kind of too out of it at this point. He doesn't really get it, and Daemon's there as well, and smells like his cup to see that they're giving him the milk of the poppy, but that's pretty obvious already. So that's where that scene ends. Anything?
They're still scheming.
Oh yeah,
this whole time.
Yeah, everybody.
But
is.
you do, out of those two, you do see how they really do care for him.
Yeah.
I hate to see how he's degenerated.
Yeah.
No, they hate. Like how he's turned into this almost corpse.
You call him the king a degenerate?
He's a degenerate. No. His family is, but yeah. You got anything on that?
I mean, essentially, he's on his deathbed, and they're still asking for him to plead for them and their house.
It's because they know they have to.
Yeah, he's the only,
nobody else is.
He's the only one that has the authority to help them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're still scheming and yeah.
All right, so from there we move into a scene in Alicent's chambers with a servant girl. The servant girl is indicating to Alicent that she was raped by the prince. It comes, they don't say the prince's name, but it's Aegon, ultimately, is who we find out did this. Alicent is kind of a real piece of shit in this scene, to be honest. Like, she is trying to trick the girl into something, like she shouldn't tell anybody because they might blame her, which is just classic rape, like victim blaming,
Right.
And she gives her a bag of gold and what seems to be moon tea. You were questioning if it was actually moon tea, whether they maybe were just killing the girl and getting rid of her at that point. We don't know. We don't see the girl again in this episode.
I think that's how he set
But there is some question at some point, like, oh, Diana didn't show up. That's her name, Diana. She didn't show up this morning. So we don't know, but Alicent is she's harsh in this scene. She makes her really unlikable, to be honest. If she wasn't already, she's extremely unlikable in this scene.
Otto really has trained her well.
Yeah, so, no doubt. It's just pure manipulation in this scene. And pure manipulation.
She does a great job of acting through her, just her expressions. Like, 1 second, she makes you think that she's feeling for this girl, but at the same time, she's like, all right, well, I need to take care of this. Can't let this get out. And just her facial expressions, without really having to say anything, was pretty well done.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what, I alluded to. She gave her something else. She gave her poison instead of milk of the poppy.
Yeah.
So, I think
it could have happened. We don't have any, and we may not ever get any answer to that.
No.
Who knows?
Doesn't really matter at that point, you know.
Anything else?
But you? No.
No. All right. All right. Next, Alicent goes to Aegon's room to discuss the situation with him. She says basically, you know, are you even thinking about your wife, which is also his sister and her daughter, you know? And
gross.
she she slaps the hell out of him. And you know, Aegon's like, you know, I'm just having fun, you know, and you know, you guys make me feel inferior all the time or whatever. It's like,
yeah, I didn't ask for this.
Yeah, he didn't ask for this and all that. So that's just kind of a short little scene. Aegon's kind of, he seems to be a little bit different now. He's not as, I don't know, he seemed more confident in the previous episodes when he was younger than he is now. I think he's very much less confident. Aemon is taking the other route. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else on that one?
No.
All right. No. So, the next scene, Alicent meets with Rhaenyra and Daemon. This is where they're kind of discussing, like, oh, look, you've changed all the everything to the 7. You know, where's all the dragons and stuff? And it's just kind of just a short conversation here. They didn't say much in this conversation. It's short and sweet and kind of just jumps to the next scene. It's just to kind of get them together real quick.
Yeah, Daemon being pretty smug.
Yeah.
With her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's
Daemon
being smug always.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really, really obvious put out there with her. It's like I don't like her, can't stand her, don't trust her.
Yeah.
And it came out. So.
Yeah.
In that scene anyway.
Yeah. All right, so next we jump down to the training yard that we saw in the earlier episode where Crispin was training the kids. Now the kids, Jace and Luke, are going down to the training yard to, you know, see things like remember, like, you know, nostalgic for it and things like that. And they see that Aemon and Crispin are training in the yard, and that
I appreciate that. But.
Yeah, Aemon best Crispin. And you know, Aemon looks over towards like Luke and Jace. You know, it's like, you know, you remember this. And they're interrupted by the gates opening and Vaemon coming in for his request. And yeah, so Vaemon goes and meets with Alicent and Otto at that point and discusses his you know, request that he's going to make the next day. So, and that was it there. And yeah. Anything else on that part? I didn't have much on that. It's kind of a simple.
The boys just recognize that everybody's still staring.
Yeah. They do.
They recognize that even though they've been gone for, I guess, 6 years. I guess it entails that they've been gone for that long.
Probably because they're so strong.
That everybody was kind of turning and whispering, and Jace is the older one.
Yes. Jacaerys is older.
So the younger one was more involved with that. Jace was more excited about being there and reminiscing, and felt like you could tell he felt more at home. He didn't care. And the younger one was like, we're being stared at, we're being talked about. Yeah. Jace is like, I don't care.
Yeah. He didn't care. It is what it is to Jace. He's used to it.
Yeah.
All right. So next scene, Rhaenys is at the Heart Tree. Rhaenyra, there's a lot of Rays in this scene. Rhaena, Daemon's daughter, who apparently has become a ward of Daemon and Rhaenyra, although it's her father. How is she really a ward? You know, she lives with Daemon and Rhaenyra, and apparently Baela, the older of the two, I think, lives with Rhaenys in Driftmark, because we saw her earlier in Driftmark. But Rhaena comes to see Rhaenys. Rhaenyra is also there. Rhaenyra discusses with Rhaenys about the claim to Driftmark, and says that, you know, I know you're holding Laenor's death against me, and, you know, I love Laenor. I'm not complicit in his death. And she's telling the truth, obviously, because we know she didn't have him killed. She let him go away with his boyfriend. But Rhaenys doesn't know this. Rhaenys believes he's dead, and that she kind of feels like Rhaenyra may have been part of that. Yeah. Rhaenyra offers marriage between the houses, with Baela and Rhaena marrying Jace and Luke. Rhaenys says that what did I write here? My notes are terrible.
It's all that shorthand.
Oh, yeah, it is shorthand. I don't know what that means right there. But Rhaenys says that the high towers, HTs. That's what I wrote. Rhaenys says the high towers are going to land the first blow the next day by taking Driftmark from them, probably. But so. Yeah, that was a good scene. I like that scene. It's one of the better scenes.
She's already a step ahead.
Yeah,
with her thought process.
Yeah, anytime Rhaenys is doing stuff, she's always very good.
She's on top of it.
Yeah, she's very good. She knows what's going on. She's been around for a long time.
She just hangs in the background, like she said in the last episode. She's past all that. She don't want anything to really do with it.
Yeah,
but here she is in power now.
Yeah.
So we'll see how long. See how long she feels like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Anything else about the...
I thought it was symbolic that she was at the tree. I always feel like those conversations happen at that tree.
At the tree.
Yeah, the tree, that was in Game of Thrones, too. Mm-hmm. Lots of conversations at the heart tree.
So it almost felt like Rhaenyra interrupted her time there. And it was almost like... the aunt. I'm just gonna have to refer to things that way because I can't keep all of them straight. Kind of almost expected that coming. Like she almost looked at her like she was appalled, but like I expected you to come back at me with some sort of a ploy. Well, an apology, but a ploy to to keep her in her good graces because they've never really gotten along. They meshed, but they never really got along. And it almost seemed like she was trying to befriend her to keep her on her side and have her, essentially her vote when it came to that point of defending the boys with their claim to the throne. So, of course, she's still trying to make her alliances, even though it's family.
Yeah.
No.
So I kind of thought that was all.
She kind of had an underlying reason to be there, other than just an apology.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But Rhaenyra's offer is a pretty good offer. It keeps Valyrian on the throne, even if Jacaerys isn't a true Valyrian, and it puts a Valyrian in Driftmark, even if Luke isn't a true Valyrian.
Yeah.
So it's a good offer. Rhaenyra's very smart with that. Rhaenyra then goes to meet with Viserys because she's not sure what will happen. She needs his help. She asks him about the Song of Ice and Fire and if it's true what he told her. This is going to become a bad move later, I think, because I think this encourages Viserys in some way. She tells Viserys that being the heir has been
it's fresh in
his and brings it back to his forefront
mind right now. Yeah.
Rhaenyra says that being an heir is a very heavy burden, that she wanted to just get rid of it at some point, and she says you need to defend me and my children to pay for me carrying this heavy burden. So she's asking Viserys to tell them that Luke is going to be the heir to Driftmark, and just to make sure that nobody can get in the way of that.
Right.
So yeah, that's that scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of set up like you said. I think that kind of set up a little, kind of built up to what's to come in this episode.
Yeah.
So I didn't even think about that until.
Yeah, she kept it fresh in his mind for sure.
Yeah.
And you're kind of out on that because you don't know what that is and all.
That's where you kind of got a little.
Well, I did, but at the same time with Rhaenyra going to her father, it was almost like she was second guessing herself being the queen too.
Yeah.
Like she was asking for his approval back to like reinstate and reinforce what he had instilled in her when she was younger about being the queen and taking the throne. And I think she's questioning that at this point, whether she is the right person. If she does want to carry the burdens, if she does want to take that over, I don't know where that stems from. If it's from having the new life with Daemon or the stuff with Jason Luke, and the accusations against them, but I feel like it's really weighing on her shoulders, and she kind of breaks down and tries not to cry, even though you can't really see her or understand her emotions. You really see her like have a moment of weakness to what she's seeing that's going to happen. Like, she sees that her father's dying and that this is going to become the new way of the kingdom that she'll have to take over if that all holds true, and you kind of see it all come crashing down on her to where she's really overwhelmed with it. Being gone for 6 years, it's been out of sight, out of mind, and now she's back and like, holy shit, like, this is actually going to happen. I'm going to become queen, and I'm going to have to deal with all of this and everything that's transpiring with a war about to happen. I think she's feeling very overwhelmed.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it's a possibility for sure.
Yeah, basically questioning her father. Did you make the right decision?
Like, do you think that I should still be queen? If you do, then it was essentially, she was like, let me know. Yeah. Like, if you still feel that I should still do this. And I feel like that kind of ties into the end too, and that's why I kept asking questions about it, where I was like trying to put all that together. So
yeah, she did bring up, when you named me, you split this kingdom in half. Did you make the right decision?
Right.
Yeah. That was something. Yeah. She did question the king.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right.
That's natural, though.
Yeah. So the next morning, Viserys is getting attended to. Otto's there. Viserys wants to have a dinner with everyone, with the family. And then and Otto's like, but it's the morning, and he goes, no, I mean later.
Yeah.
And then Viserys refuses the milk of the poppy.
Yeah.
Meaning he wants to be clear on this day. He doesn't want to. The pain is going to be tough, but he doesn't want to use it. So
yeah, that was a rough scene.
Yeah, like, he's looking rough, real rough.
Lord.
Got holes all over him.
Skinny, just he's a walking corpse.
He really is. He's falling apart, literally.
Graphics were amazing, though.
Yeah, it looked great.
Yeah, disturbing.
Yeah. All right. So then later in that day, or I guess it's in the morning still technically, because I think they do the things earlier. Otto's hearing claims. Vaemon makes the claim for Driftmark. Rhaenyra starts to interrupt, and Viserys interrupts him a bit, and Alicent says, no, it's his turn, you need to let him talk. He continues to talk. He finishes, and Rhaenyra is called up to do her part. As she starts talking, Viserys enters with the cane and walks very slowly up to the throne. He has this awesome half face mask made of gold to cover up his damaged face.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's like Phantom of the Opera, for sure.
Yeah.
So Daemon walks towards the throne. He doesn't want any help from a king's guard, but he makes it halfway up the steps to the throne, and his crown falls off. And someone comes up to help him. He says, I said I could do it myself, but it's Daemon. And he lets Daemon help him. I thought it was kind of a nice little moment between the brothers there. Kind of a thing that Daemon still clearly cares for Viserys. But he has his own issues there, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Basically, Viserys gets up there and says that really there's only one person who knows what Lord Corlys Velaryon wants, and that's his wife, Rhaenys. And she's asked to talk. She says that Corlys has directly said that he wants Lucerys to be the heir to Driftmark and to take the Driftwood throne, or whatever it's called. That leads to Vaemon making a really terrible mistake. He comes up, he partakes in what I called some significant treason.
Yeah.
He essentially is yelling at the king, and then turns towards Luke and Jace and Rhaenyra, and he starts to call them bastards, and Daemon says, say it.
Yeah.
So Vaemon ultimately goes, they're bastards, and calls Rhaenyra a whore, at which point the king is extremely angry. And he essentially says that, he's going to pay for that, and he's going to have his tongue. He pulls the dagger out.
Pulls the dagger.
And says he's going to have his tongue. But before he can have his tongue, Damon cuts his head off right about here. Right about here across the mouth. And the tongue's still sticking out. And Damon says he can keep his tongue.
Great line.
He's clear. He's very dead.
80s action. Right there, one-liner.
Yeah.
He can keep his tongue.
He's very dead. So it's treason then.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So that scene's like, woo.
He was dead within 20 seconds of his rant.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't going to let that go.
He couldn't have known. I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, he knew that wasn't a good idea. He knew he was going to die.
It goes back to that first scene. He's like, I don't think he knows how to speak in those kind of halls. He's just kind of very direct and in your face.
He's a soldier.
Yeah.
He's not a...
So...
He's a second son. They have problems.
Yes, second son.
Yeah.
Well, even the princess even said that. She was like, we're going to forgive you for what you speak of in these chambers.
Right.
Like, you're already speaking of treason to me. And then he turned around and did it again.
Yeah,
in front
He doesn't know when to keep his mouth shut, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
So
it gave us a nice gore scene. We haven't had one of those in like an episode or two.
Yeah, it was quick, too.
Yeah.
Didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Nope, that one took that.
That was a good one.
We get a little bit.
Yeah.
We get a little bit. We get a little bit more of the gore because Rhaenys immediately after this scene visits the Silent Sisters who are preparing Vaemon's body to be shipped back to Driftmark.
Oh God, yeah.
She speaks with the Grand Maester there in the chamber. The Maester and she's like, "Oh, the stranger has visited me many times. I don't have a problem." She's basically said, "I don't have a problem with death." The stranger is one of the 7 gods.
Yeah.
He's the one who carries the dead, So she says that. That's just a short scene. There's not much to that scene.
That's her brother-in-law, correct?
It's her brother. It's Corliss's brother. Yeah.
So essentially, she kind of like set that off with her accepting Rhaenyra's.
Yeah, she probably feels like
offer.
she caused that. Yeah,
Right.
She does, but then again, she didn't make him say that.
I think she knows what she's doing too. That eliminated a threat to her throne.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
She's not dumb. She's been in this game for a while.
Oh, she definitely has. So we go to the next scene. It's the family dinner that Viserys wants. They're all sitting around. Otto's there too, even though he's technically just an in-law, but he's there, of course. So we got Otto and Daemon back together. We got Aemond and Jacaerys and Luke back together. We got Aegon there being a complete shit to Jacaerys. And then, Helena, who's married to Aegon, even though it's his sister, is there just kind of being the weird self that she is. And then, of course, you got Rhaenyra and Alicent. And then you have King Viserys being carried in on his chair into the dinner. Yeah. Just in terrible shape. But these are the people he loves. These are the people he wants to get along. He wants them to be good. And he says that. He takes his mask off, shows him his face. His eye's missing. Half his face is rotted off. It looks terrible. I mean, I don't know how he's alive, to be honest. He looks like a corpse.
Yeah.
He just wants to repair the family. Mm-hmm. And upon saying that, Rhaenyra stands up and does her best to do that. She makes a toast to Alicent.
Thank you.
And says that, thanks for taking care of my father.
Yeah.
And then, Alicent returns the favor and toasts her. Their relationship seems to be pretty good. And then, it goes on. And
nice moments.
Yeah.
In this episode, or this
Jacaerys toast Aegon and Helena toast to husbands because they don't ignore you all the time.
Everybody feels great right now.
And then Aemond.
Yeah.
Then the shit.
Yeah.
The shitbag Aemond comes into and toast and makes the strong joke that I made earlier.
Yes.
That
it was perfect.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. I knew what he was going to say. I said it. And strong.
And strong.
And he did it. He did it.
Yeah.
So
it was a good one.
Jace does not take this well and punches Aemond, who doesn't seem to be phased one single bit by the punch. He just kind of moves sideways and looks right back.
Took it and pushed him down very strong.
And this is after Viserys gets carried out before these fights break out. I mean, Viserys leaves with thinking that they're all good together. And nobody ultimately tells him, because Alicent sees him and then he dies.
Yeah.
Nobody tells him that the family has broken down yet again, basically. But Rhaenyra and Alicent do try to calm it down and somewhat be be cordial and not get back into what they're doing. So it's not exactly broken down. It's just the kids. They're like, oh, it's just kids being stupid kids, which it is, because they're all like 15 to 17 years old at this point. Except Aegon, he may be like 18 or 19.
Aegon, he's being an a-hole.
Aegon is a do. I do not care about anything. I just want to sleep. And
he was egging on Jace too.
Oh yeah.
With the do you know how to?
But he did the ultimate
do it?
F you to him, and he got up and took his wife to go dance.
So Jace did. Yeah. And he gave him a nice toast too.
Then there's Helena's toast, which was completely crazy. Yeah. Because she's a seer of some sort, so she's just out there. She's completely out there. No predictions this time though.
No, she speaks in riddles.
So it ends, and Rhaenyra and Alicent are essentially okay with each other still. They're kind of back on decent terms. But yeah, Aemon definitely tried to ruin everybody's day.
Clearly they set that up like the Last Supper because they had the king in the middle of the table instead of on the end.
Well, he wasn't. He was at the end of the table.
No, they had him in the middle. They brought him and sat him down in the middle of the table. Did you notice that?
I thought he was at the
Just
end
like in the
Alicent was on one side and they were on the other, but I could be mistaken.
It was Aemon on one and then Luke and his wife on.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. So they had. Yeah. I mean, clearly they were going for the Last Supper.
Yeah.
Type of scene. So I thought that was kind of
maybe
they were leading into it, of course.
Yeah. We get a quick shot after this of Mysaria, and one of the Alicent's handmaidens comes to Mysaria, and she's like, "What's going on in the castle?" And that's it. That's the end of that scene. It's just to show us Mysaria is still around, being like the spy master there in town.
Yeah, which we haven't seen her since episode 3.
It's probably 3.
It's been a bit. Yeah. So
it was definitely way back there. Alicent goes to see Viserys in his bed, gives him some milk of the poppy, and the king is confused, very confused. He thinks Alicent is Rhaenyra, apparently, and starts talking about A Song of Ice and Fire, which Alicent is basically on your level, Ashley. She has no clue what this is. And he mentions Aegon, when he's actually talking about Aegon the Conqueror and his dream of this thing. And then she takes that as Aegon, their son, and believes that he is saying that Aegon should be on the throne. That's the way she's going to take it. He's confused her for Rhaenyra, clearly, and has made a grievous mistake to this family, unfortunately. And then he dies. And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah. That was a pretty amazing way to end that episode. I mean, just the confusion. They've been building that up for a couple episodes now. And it came into play big time in that last scene.
It really did.
And that is just going to throw everything off.
Well, yeah, because Alicent's going to take that back and say that on his deathbed, the king requested that Aegon be king.
Yeah.
When that was not that wasn't the plan at all.
No, not at all. And
and even after it's
an unfortunate series of events.
Everything. But perfect.
Yeah.
But it's also, I feel like there's a little bit of the king's hand, her father, Otto, that's kind of like in the background of her mind, to where she's kind of pulling from that too, and she takes that and she says, "I understand, my king," and walks away like, "I'm going to use this to my advantage." Like, you can totally see the wheels turning to where she's going to take that.
And she does give him milk of the poppy.
Yeah.
At the end of that, but was it?
So, I mean, it was milk of the poppy, but I mean, she might have killed him. She might have killed him, but I don't think she killed him out of any reason to take over the throne. No. I think she killed him, put him out of suffering misery. If she actually did terrible. That. Yeah.
But wow. A lot is taking
next
off
episode's
from this episode.
Going to really get crazy.
Everything is going to take off.
The Dance of Dragons is on its way.
Has begun.
Yeah. All right, so this
was the curtsy.
Yeah. They are ready to dance now, clearly. All right, so that's the end of the episode. Did you guys have anything else to say about it?
No, I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's what this show does best.
Yeah, they're just getting better and better, and I think we're gonna end up with an amazing finale, season 1. So we still got 2 more episodes. So it's a lot to.
They're just gonna do it like Game of Thrones and put like the whole Dance of Dragons in an episode and a half, right?
Oh, yeah, they better.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do.
Disappointed if they don't.
All right, so thanks for watching and listening to Basement Movie Room.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd like to follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Basement Movie Room. Otherwise, you can find us on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube at basementmovieroom.com.
Please follow us. We need followers.
Thanks again.
Subscribe.
Bye.
Bye. Killed it again.